Another mass shooting has happened in the United States, which means another discussion over mental health will soon begin. I'm Nathan Seelove, and this is Factually Biased. Yesterday, there was another tragic shooting in Chicago at a Mercy hospital, and it resulted in the deaths of 4 people. And with this mass shooting will likely come the same conversation that we always have after mass shootings, which is everyone gets pissed off and yells at each other, and people try to come up with solutions, some of which are impractical, some of which are no-brainers. Nothing ends up getting done, and people eventually forget about it and don't talk about it again until the next shooting. That's just the reality of the United States of America and political discourse regarding guns. So, I have a rather unique stance on guns that probably doesn't fit into the traditional liberal or conservative category, but that's not really what I want to address right now. I want to talk about the tendency of the Republican Party to scapegoat mental health as the cause of mass shootings, rather than guns. This is this idea that we shouldn't be talking about guns, we should be talking about mental health. Now, first off, I want to say that if we are going to try to have conversations about mental health in the United States, we need to first define what we mean by mental health. So, if you're just trying to say that nobody with a mental health condition should be allowed to own a gun, well, mental health condition is a very broad statement. That's a very broad group of people. Are we saying that nobody with, say, an anxiety condition should be allowed to own a gun? Or someone like myself who's on the autism spectrum, no one on the autism spectrum should ever be allowed to own a gun? I mean, to me, that's preemptively taking away rights based on a marginalized identity. I think that there are many other predictors that we can probably look at. People that have a history of committing violence, people that have committed felonies, people that have committed domestic abuse. 20% of mass shooters between the year of 2006 and 2016 had a history of domestic abuse. So there's a lot of things that we can talk about beyond just talking about guns when we're talking about preventing mass shootings. So, first off, we need to clarify what we're talking about when we're talking about mass shootings. So, putting that aside for a sec, though, one of the issues that I have with the attempts to scapegoat mass shootings by bringing up mental health, saying we should be allocating resources to discussing our mental health problems in the United States rather than talking about guns. I wouldn't have a problem with that if it was actually happening. The problem is, Republicans bring up that we need to talk about mental health. We need to allocate resources into helping solving our mental health problem before we can have any conversation about guns. But the problem is they're not doing that. The most recent budget that they passed, which, to be fair, many Democrats voted for it as well, cut programs that helped mental health conditions, that were dedicated to helping people with mental health conditions. I mean, you can't scapegoat a problem and then not even commit to doing anything about the thing that you're scapegoating. It's ridiculous. It's a bunch of theater. So, if we want to talk about solving our mental health problems, solving mental health in the United States, or at least working to treat mental health in the United States, I'm all for having that conversation. But right now, the people that are trying to get the conversation away from guns, who are trying to say, no, let's talk about mental health, they're not even talking about mental health. They're not even trying to solve mental health. They're actively cutting programs that are there in order to help with that. So we need to be clear about what our priorities are. I think that there are many conversations related to our epidemic of gun violence that aren't necessarily directly related to guns that we should be talking about. I think that we should also talk about guns as well, but there's a lot of aspects of it. There's a lot of unique angles to take a look at it from, because it is not a simple solution. But if you are going to be presenting an alternative solution to talking about guns, then you better be ready to actually work to solve that problem. So, we have a unique problem. No other developed country has our rate of mass shootings, of gun violence, of any other country in the world, any other developed country in the world. And we need to take steps in order to solve that. And if you have a solution, that solution should not just be a convenient scapegoat. It should be a solution that you are committed to actually working on and actually implementing. Well, that's all I got for you today. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, give it a like, a share, leave a comment down below, tell me what you thought, and I will see you next week.